my favorite jump on the mountain right here. This big old guy. Yeehaw! All right, Coach Kevin here. Floyd Hill, which is a phenomenal purpose-built mountain bike terrain here in Colorado. This trail was optimized and purpose-built for bikes. Actually, the trail I'm on is a green multi-use, but in just a little bit, there'll be a trail fork. It will split into a downhill, directional only, black, double black trail, optimized for bikers. And then there's a hiking loop as well, which is awesome because it allows for that multi-use space. But got a new camera mount, checking out the visibility and the audio quality, and just thought I'd bring you along for the ride. So here we go. This is still that green climbing multi-use trail at Floyd, but there's a feature coming up that stumbles a lot of folks. It's a blind rollover between these two boulders I'm approaching. Probably puts it solid in the blue category, but it's an isolated feature. Woo-wee. And then right into some pretty demanding climbing here, and then back to mellower. Still steep. You hear my breathing. Climbing uphill at 8,000 feet elevation, but relatively moderate dark green terrain, let's say, except for a few isolated features. Okay, coming up off that first split, you can see I'm still in that green portal, and Skip goes to the right. Skip is hiker only. This is the second trail split here. Look at that blue trail. To the right, so you come over the riders. This basically goes up the fall line. Very steep because of my isolated technical features. It's hard because of the steepness. The effort is high. To the left, you've got a blue-black. Find this more fun. Adds a little bit of mileage. Follows a gentler grade going up to the top. That's the way we're gonna take today. Let's let it roll. So this is a Colorado blue-black. You can see some exposure on my left, some technical rock features, kind of threading the needle through some of it. All of this is rollable. Thinking about the skills I'm using while I'm rolling this terrain, it's gonna be position and balance, some coordination, access to range of motion, and timing and coordination of that range of motion. Specifically in using my arms and legs as suspension. So my bike has suspension, you can pay for that. Your body has even more suspension. It's free. I guess the cost is time and energy and focusing on how to use it. And most of us are okay, pretty good maybe even, at maintaining positioning and balance on the bike. But from there, once we're stable, we want to be able to leverage that stability to maximize our range of motion and application of that range of motion on the trail. Well, this is where it gets good. First ascent, really, on the blue-black. Got a couple of rock rolls. They're all rollable. They're also droppable if you would prefer. Some of these are fairly large. Range of motion access, got some more exposure, a skinny there. Yeehaw! That first bit's exciting. And then we got some more kind of cruisy, rolly terrain, I'll call it, for just a little bit here. It's like sometimes my dropper post is up, sometimes it's down. Kind of fast and flowy. If you can thread the needle between the trees, keep your terrain awareness high. So looking ahead where I want to go next and scanning back and forth between where I'm riding now so that I don't run into that tree. Now coming up just here, it's gonna be one of the harder features on this blue-black. Stumps a lot of folks. Kind of a technical entry, pinched between some rocks, and then a turn to the right and a steep uphill that's chunky. And oh, you can hear my tire spin a little bit there. It gets a little bit of loose over hard dust conditions. This is another feature catches a lot of folks off, kind of pinching between two rocks again. And then we get some more rolly, I should say, for a bit. Doesn't let up, doesn't necessarily get easier, but nothing really noteworthy. And then we come to this trail option here, which today I'm not gonna take. This trail to the left winds, super fun. Winds its way down, hence the name. So you get some more descending, some great switchbacks for some cornering practice. Today I'm on a bit of a time crunch. I'm gonna stay on Floyd's Loop. The blue-black kind of gets easier, I guess, as blue going forward. Gets a little easier. I'm gonna stay on Floyd's Loop, more direct route to the top, make my way to the sluice. Here we go. All right, I'm still on that blue climbing trail. You can see less technical now. Actually, super pretty this time of year. A lot of pine needles on the ground. It's October 30th, the day before Halloween. We've got fresh snow in the mountains. Probably can't see them through the trees. It's only about 40 degrees here, but perfect riding temps. I'm not sweating through my layers yet anyway. Just keeping this casual pace, enjoying the fact that I can spin a little higher cadence, a little less technical terrain here. Thinking back again to the skills needed to ride a place like Floyd Hill. Now I get a lot of questions on what kind of bike do you ride, especially for XYZ terrain. So I figured I'd hit on that right now. I'm on my favorite bike that I've ridden yet. I'm on a 140 mil frame, 140 millimeter full suspension, so 140 mil suspension in the rear, 150 mil suspension in the front. I'm on the zeroed Tenefa, which, man, if you've ever had a bike that looks like a piece of art, you almost don't want to ride it. This bike falls into that category for me. So again, I've got 140 in the rear, 150 in the front. I've got trail tires, or maybe even downcountry tires, definitely leaning more towards XC versus aggressive side of riding, but I feel pretty confident in my balance and positioning and my traction, my pressure control, pressure management, so I can trust these tires on terrain like this. Many folks might ride something a bit more aggressive, particularly in the front. I've got the Manitou Mezzer up front. Really like the hydraulic bottom out that has to control the suspension towards the end of the travel. Same thing on the rear with that RockShox. That's the Super Deluxe Ultimate. It has hydraulic bottom out on it. Now the neat thing about this bike, you're already probably wondering, two real neat aspects. This pinion and gate setup. So it's the pinion gearbox 12 speed, 600% range, a little more than SRAM Eagle, but it's all centrally located and sealed. And then gates, this belt drive here, no lubing the chain. Every once in a while I get a squeak in our dry conditions, but that's maybe once every couple of months. Just hose it off with a little water is all you need, and it's good again for a few more months. Virtually maintenance free between the two setups. And then something else you might have noticed, these rainbow colored wheels. These are actually made by Bird. These are the Bird X spokes, so it's Dyneema like climbing rope. Really helps damp or mute the trail feel, so you don't feel as chattery or vibrations. But let's keep this rolling here. Just a quick shout out, thank you to COMBA in particular, but all the partners and fundraisers that make trails like this happen. Let's keep rolling. Now, a piece about my bike that I didn't mention when I was stopped at that trailhead just a moment ago is the brakes. Been pedaling uphill so far, for the most part. Didn't really think about my brakes much, but we're about to go down the sluice, which is that black, double black, directional downhill bike only trail. And I'll be thinking a lot about my brakes, brake control, how much traction I have while I'm braking, and I can control that through a nice gradual squeeze of the brake lever. And these Magura brakes are incredible in terms of the power they offer. I've got the trail set up, which means I have 4 piston brakes in the front, 2 piston brakes in the rear, really biasing the front end grip and the potential that has to help us control our speed. And then beyond that, these Freedom Coast levers, not only are they a nice ergonomic shape, if I'm honest, I preferred the shape of the carbon Magura levers, but these are nice. What these offer that the Magura levers don't is a bite point adjustment. So both levers, Magura and Freedom Coast, offer reach adjustment, but these Freedom Coast offer a bite adjustment as well. And oh my gosh, does that really dial in, pun intended, it's a dial button, dial adjustment, I guess, really lets you dial in the feel of the brakes, particularly front to rear, so they engage not only where I want them to, which I prefer very little amount of free throw, but also they engage consistently front and rear. So a lot of times the hydraulic brakes, the rear will just feel a little bit mushier have a little more free throw compared to the front. With these, I can adjust for that and make them feel consistent. It's incredible. Okay, a little more climbing up and then we'll be at the sluice. This section might actually be one of my favorite sections, even though it's an uphill, because you're just kind of weaving in and out of this tighter tree cluster here. And it's a bit flowy for an uphill, especially if you're on an e-bike, which I'm not. But this trail is e-bike friendly. And so if you're weaving through that tighter section right there, it's almost like the Star Wars effect, where the stars are just zooming by you. It's so fun. All right, last little stretch. All right, here we go, top of Floyd. We've got the downhill directional trail, which is that black with double black options. If you get up here and you decide that that's not for you, you can either go down the way we came up or complete the Floyd's loop, which will bring you back down to that first split where we had the blue black and the blue option, bring you right down there. Today, we're gonna take the black, double black, and go have some fun. Starts off with about 20-foot climb, which tends to stump a lot of folks. It's kind of steep, chunky, they just walk it. And then you've got this optional line here, this Dragon's Back type of rock ridge. It's like a big old pump track. Oh, it's so fun. And then you've got more options. You can go left for easier line. I'm gonna go right for the harder line. Just get into the fun right away. Something I want you to notice, between the pinion gearbox, the Gates belt, and my Onyx hubs, I've got a totally silent ride experience, which allows me to really focus on the trail, the skills I'm using while I ride the trail, instead of hearing my bike making random noises. I get to hear the traction of the tires and the wind in my ears and not much else, which is an incredible sensation. Here we go, little drop there. Yeehaw! Turning up the speed a little bit. Oh, this is such a fun gap out of the corner. Little step up there. Coming into one of my favorite segments. Little chunky zigzag right into a left with some optional lines there as well. Yeehaw! Yo! Now this section gets a lot of folks. It's a blind up and over. They put those white chalk marks to try to help you, but boy, it is intimidating coming into that pace because you just can't see what's coming. So really wanted to point that one out. Those chalk, I guess they're probably paint guidelines, really help, especially if you're not familiar with it. Got a little pumpy section here. We're coming into one of the bigger segments, actually the largest drop here, called the diving board. Let's give it a go. Take a look at it. Landing's clear. Looks a little gravelly in the corner at the end there. So I'm really gonna use these Magura brakes, these suspension and tires on my bike at the moment. Help make sure I stay in control when I do it. Now there's two ways to do this. Well, it looks like there's a social path third. Some folks just roll right in from the trail that's coming down. There's a turn, chunky, straight into it. We're gonna come off it from the trail here. Notice how I looked before I leaped. Wanted to make sure there was no rain ruts, trees down, etc. This time of year we get winds and storms. It was pretty stormy and windy just the other day. In fact, I-70, the major highway that you can probably see down there, that was closed because of snow here just the other day. So always good to scope out a landing that you otherwise can't really see. And checking in with my skill set, I feel pretty good today. Done the drop like this before, I've done this one, and I want to do it today. I feel pretty good. Conditions feel right. Giving it a go. Little speed control, and oh, yeehaw! So at the speed I hit it, and the size of the compression I gave coming off of it, that was probably about an 8-foot drop where I landed. So definitely pretty big. Coming into what is officially the Dragon's Back or Dragon's Ridge, or I guess I don't know the names, but this is a sustained rock garden descent, which is oh so fun. There's lots of ways to ride down this. I'm just kind of taking what I'll call the main line, just having some fun with this. You can hear my brakes working I know GoPro effect will probably make that look not very steep, but it's pretty dang steep. Okay, got a little more high-speed chunder here. And then you get this like flowy pump track rock garden jump thing right here, where I had 2 jumps there. Here's a 3rd, there's a 4th, a little bit of a weave. Here's a 5th, you can double those up. 6th, so fun. 7th, just one little straightaway. And then we're gonna come into a corner where the trail changes here. So it goes from rocky tech to more flowy, woo, bigger jumps. And then, yeehaw, my favorite jump on the mountain, right here. This big old guy, yeehaw, jumping all the way up. And then, ooh, that's eroded, I'm gonna roll it. But that's a big step down as well, super fun. Notice how, even at my level, I'm a pretty okay rider. Even at my level, that looked eroded. I didn't trust the terrain in the moment, and I opted not to hit that. So you can see I got the 2nd step down though, into a little step up jump. Definitely flowier here, not quite as rocky. And now the trail really changes basically at the bottom. Got a couple of roller double, gap table-y kind of jumps coming up. Here's 1, woo, here's 2, woo, 3, and the biggest of them all, 4, and then a couple of really good corners, firm, supported, raked out, little transfer there. Really allows you to focus on direction control, pressure control, speed management. So many fun skills to focus on. Even though I'm talking about all these skills, I pick one at a time to think about while I'm riding. So basically at the end, there's 2 really good corners coming up right after this little flowy bit. They are meant to slow you down into the parking lot, but I like to hit them at full speed, really see how far I can lean the bike. Here we go. Dragon bar in on the inside there, and same thing there. Yeehaw. And we're back. All right, back in the car. Like I said, today I'm on a bit of a time crunch, just trying to sneak this in on my lunch hour, and I did just that. I can do the Floyd Hill loop in just under an hour. That was about 50 minutes worth of riding. Super fun, super easy to access, right off I-70. There was a couple other riders there, probably half a dozen or so other riders there, which tells me it's a good spot for folks to hit on their lunch hour midweek. So if you're in the Denver Front Range and you can access this pretty easily right off I-70, it's worth it. My Strava didn't work. Don't you love when that happens? Strava! But it did record my heart rate at least through my Apple Watch, and said my heart rate was around 175. So that tells me it's a pretty significant effort up. So keep that in mind. If you're doing it on your lunch hour, you might want to change your clothes, wipe the sweat off your brow before you head back to the office. Yeah. Hope you're getting after it, having fun before the season ends. Thanks so much for coming along on today's ride.